The rain had already started falling when Daniel realized he was late. His old, rusted car sputtered at every stoplight, coughing out gray smoke like it, too, was tired of trying. His hands gripped the wheel, trembling slightly, not from the cold, but from nerves. He glanced in the rearview mirror, where a tiny pair of brown eyes looked back at him. "Daddy, are we almost there?" Lily asked softly, hugging her teddy bear tighter. Daniel smiled weakly. "Almost, sweetheart. Daddy just needs to make a good impression tonight." He didn't tell her that it wasn't just any date. It was a blind date arranged by a friend, a last attempt at rebuilding something resembling a life. After losing his wife to cancer 3 years ago, Daniel had poured every ounce of himself into raising his daughter and working double shifts at the auto shop. He wasn't looking for love anymore. He was just trying to keep the lights on and give Lily a decent childhood. But his friend had insisted. "She's special," he had said. "A CEO, but kind-hearted. You might like her." Daniel had laughed it off then. But here he was, late, nervous, and soaked. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of love to heal even the deepest scars, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support helps us bring more heartfelt stories like this one to life. By the time he reached the restaurant, his shirt clung to his back and his shoes squished with every step. He apologized to the hostess, who gave him a look that mixed pity and disapproval, then led him to a corner booth. Sitting there, dressed in elegant simplicity, a navy dress and calm composure, was Evelyn Hart, CEO of a major real estate company. She was beautiful in that intimidating way, poised, polished, and clearly used to control. Her expression, however, softened the moment she saw him. A single father, clearly struggling, yet standing tall despite the odds. Daniel opened his mouth to apologize again, but the waiter arrived to hand him a menu. Evelyn smiled politely, though her eyes flickered briefly toward the little girl now standing beside him. "I'm so sorry," Daniel said quickly, his voice almost cracking. "My sitter canceled last minute, and I couldn't leave her home alone." "I understand if this ruins the—" Evelyn held up her hand gently, cutting him off. "It's all right," she said quietly. "Please sit." "Both of you." The dinner began awkwardly. Evelyn tried to make small talk, asking about his work, his hobbies, his favorite books. Daniel's answers were simple, honest, tinged with exhaustion. He told her about fixing cars and helping his neighbors when their engines died in the cold, about how he used to write poetry for his wife back when he still believed in happy endings. Evelyn found herself smiling more than she expected. She had met dozens of polished, confident men, lawyers, entrepreneurs, investors, but none of them had spoken with this kind of raw sincerity. There was no performance here, no pretense, just a man doing his best with what life had handed him. Halfway through dinner, Lily began to hum softly, tracing patterns on the condensation of her glass. "Do you like the food, sweetheart?" Evelyn asked kindly. Lily nodded shyly. "It's yummy. Daddy never eats out. He says it's too expensive." Daniel's cheeks flushed, and he mumbled something about treating her whenever he could. But Evelyn only smiled gently and leaned forward. "Well, tonight's my treat," she said. "You both deserve it." The rain outside grew heavier, drumming softly against the window. For a while, it felt like the rest of the world disappeared. Evelyn asked Daniel about his wife, and though he hesitated, something in her eyes, something honest and unguarded, made him open up. He told her about how he and Emily met in college, about their small wedding, about the nights he'd read to her in the hospital when the pain was too much. His voice trembled when he said, "She made me promise not to close my heart forever. Said Lily would need me to believe in good people again." Evelyn felt her chest tighten. She, too, had built walls after heartbreak. Her husband had left her for another woman years ago, right after she launched her company. Since then, she'd learned to trust no one, to rely only on herself. But looking at this man, broken yet brave, something inside her began to thaw. As dessert arrived, Lily leaned across the table, her voice soft as a whisper. "Miss Evelyn," she said, "you smile like my mommy used to." The room fell silent for a moment. Evelyn's breath caught, her eyes shimmering as she reached for the child's hand. "That's the nicest thing anyone said to me in a long time," she whispered back. Daniel looked at his daughter, unsure whether to scold or thank her, but Evelyn only smiled through tears. "You have a beautiful heart, Lily." The evening ended quietly. Evelyn offered to drive them home when she saw Daniel's car struggle to start, but he insisted he could manage. As they parted, she handed Lily a small paper bag. Inside was a slice of chocolate cake. "For tomorrow," Evelyn said. "Sweet dreams deserve something sweet." Daniel thanked her, his voice low, his eyes full of something unspoken. Gratitude, maybe hope. That night, Evelyn lay awake, unable to shake the image of that little girl's eyes or the father's weary smile. She had spent years surrounded by wealth and power, yet she couldn't remember the last time someone had made her feel so human. Something about Daniel and Lily haunted her in the gentlest way possible. Days passed. Evelyn returned to her usual routine, meetings, boardrooms, endless negotiations, but something had changed. When her assistant asked if she wanted to attend another investors' gala, she refused. Instead, she found herself driving by the small auto shop where Daniel worked. Through the glass, she saw him laughing with a customer, grease-stained but glowing with simple pride. She didn't stop that day, but she did return the next. When she walked in, Daniel froze mid-sentence. "Evelyn?" he said, wiping his hands nervously. "What are you doing here?" She smiled. "My car's making a strange sound. Thought maybe the best mechanic in town could take a look." It was a lie. Her car was perfectly fine, but he didn't question it. Over the next hour, they talked again. About work, about life, about Lily's new obsession with painting. By the time she left, Evelyn realized she was smiling again, the kind of smile that came from somewhere deep, real, and long forgotten. Over the next few weeks, their paths kept crossing. Sometimes she'd bring lunch to his shop. Sometimes he'd fix a neighbor's car outside her office building. Slowly, without either of them realizing it, a quiet friendship grew between them. Evelyn would find herself checking her phone for messages from him. Daniel would stay up late, replaying her laughter in his mind. But one afternoon, as she arrived at the shop, she found Daniel sitting outside with his head in his hands. Lily was sick, really sick. He'd taken her to the doctor earlier that day, and the diagnosis wasn't good. The same illness that had taken his wife was now threatening his daughter. Evelyn knelt beside him, her own heart breaking at the sight of his tears. Without hesitation, she told him she'd cover every hospital bill, every test, every treatment. He tried to protest, but she simply said, "Let me do this. Not as charity, but as someone who cares." In the weeks that followed, Evelyn visited Lily often at the hospital. She'd bring coloring books, read bedtime stories, and sit beside Daniel in the silent hours of the night. They didn't speak much, there was nothing to say, but sometimes words weren't needed. Just presence, just kindness. Then one evening, when Lily was feeling better, she tugged Evelyn's sleeve and whispered something in her ear. Evelyn froze, tears pooling instantly. She looked at Daniel, then back at Lily. "What did she say?" he asked softly. Evelyn smiled through her tears. "She said, 'Miss Evelyn, if you marry my daddy, I won't be scared anymore. Because you make him smile again.'" The words hit Daniel like a wave. His heart swelled, cracked, and healed all at once. Evelyn cupped Lily's tiny face, her own voice trembling. "Sweetheart," she said, "you've already given me the greatest gift. You reminded me what love looks like." That night, as the city lights flickered through the hospital window, Daniel took Evelyn's hand for the first time. No grand gestures, no promises, just the silent understanding between two broken hearts that had found healing in each other. When Lily finally fell asleep, Evelyn rested her head on Daniel's shoulder, whispering, "I never believed in fate until now." If this story touched your heart, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support means the world. It helps us bring more stories of hope, love, and second chances to life. And before we end, tell us in the comments, do you believe that love can heal even the deepest wounds? Months later, Lily recovered fully. Daniel's small shop began to thrive, thanks to Evelyn's quiet support and a few strategic business connections. But more than money or success, what filled their days now was laughter. On weekends, the three of them would visit the park, where Lily would chase butterflies while Daniel and Evelyn sat together on a bench, sharing stories of the past and dreams for the future. One sunny afternoon, as Lily ran toward them, her hair flying in the wind, she called out, "Mom! Dad, look, a rainbow!" Evelyn froze for a second, then smiled, tears filling her eyes. Daniel looked at her, his hand tightening around hers. "She called you Mom," he whispered. Evelyn laughed softly, brushing away a tear. "I know," she said, "and it feels right." The storm that had once filled Daniel's life with loss had finally cleared. In its place stood something beautiful, a second chance, born from kindness, timing, and a little girl's pure heart. And somewhere above them, maybe, Emily smiled too.